Welcome to the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. Here we have real people sharing real stories and actionable steps to help you reinvent, rebuild, and reboot your business and personal life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and today we have special guest Claudette Anderson. Claudette is the truth facilitator, lover of the soul, and the ancient knowledge warrior for your freedom, intuitive CEO, author, and business owner. She is passionate for everyone to remember their true power and purpose. She helps people eliminate the thoughts that paralyze us from taking action or enjoying life to the fullest. Claudette speaks to your soul and calls you to remember who you really are. All right, welcome to the show, Claudette.
Such an honor to be on your show. Hello, everyone.
And one of the things I like to start off with is this show started off with my new best-selling book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. And this year, or 12 months, last 12 months, we've had just about every situation hit us globally. So I always like to start off with maybe a story you have from your business or personal life where you hit a tough situation and how you got back on track.
Well, I can name it immediately. I have been a business owner for a very long time, since 1995. And in 2004, I was running a real estate investment group and a real estate company, and I hit rock bottom at that point. I had a printer company try to sue me for it's just one of these random situations. And we had asked them to come pick up a printer. Do you remember when printers were like really big and really expensive? It wasn't just a mini printer. This was like a production printer. We would do mail outs. We would do all kinds of things. We were producing a lot of things in house. And I actually had them come and pick it up. And they acted like they had not come and pick it up. And they acted like I had stolen it. And I'm like, it's not here. How do you steal a printer? How would I even get it down the stairs? It weighed like a ton or 2 tons. Like, I'm just like this, and this battle just went on. And I was advised by an attorney to claim bankruptcy. And it literally, or I would lose several $100,000. And so I did. And I remember at the time, I was like, my credit had been perfect. I had always paid everything, and it was devastating to my identity and to who I was and at the time. But the thing I learned from that, and we did go back and I paid off, credit lines and different things that were going, but you had to include everything in the bankruptcy, right? And I'm advising investment people, and I remember one of my clients said, we can, your bankruptcy information's online. And so, I had to explain to him what had happened, right? And what I learned from there is my identity is not attached to anything in this world. My identity is attached to something much deeper and more meaningful than that. I manifest in what I do in this world, and I would tell everyone to, pay your bills. Sometimes you run into situations where a business will take a dip and bankruptcy happens. I know a lot of business owners that have gone through that, but you'll live through it. And I recovered and I rebuilt, And so that's just one of the times. I've had several projects and partnerships and things like that. Like, some of them thrive, some of them haven't. And, what I've learned is we do asymmetrical risk, right? We work to have everything work, but sometimes something will begin to shift and not work as well, and get creative. And instead of getting in the negativity of the thought pattern of failure, get into the thought pattern of creativity and, seek that inner knowledge, that divine knowledge, and you'll get guidance on it. So ever since I started doing that, which that journey began 26 years ago, but I've learned how to do it in a much more methodic way, methodic way, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Now it's a whole different world. And I begin to understand that I create my reality. I create the outcome. I create my reality. If you're in business and you have this thought that it is going to, or a fear that it's going to fail, the chances of it failing are a lot higher than if you have a vision of it succeeding and you're open to those little nudges and influences. And, you might have someone that comes up and just gives you an idea. There might be low hanging fruit from that you didn't see before. I mean, there's all these things, but I guess I'm saying turn inward and begin to follow that guidance, that intuition, those nudges. Don't ignore them. Had I followed my guidance, I wouldn't have gone under a contract with that printer company. I felt really weird about doing it, and it ended up with everything. So follow those nudges. That's what I would tell everyone. Yeah.
Beautiful. Wow, that's so true. And I know for me, 99.9% of the time when I listen to the intuition, even though it makes absolutely no sense mentally,
yes,
it always pencils business-wise. In my life, in every single way, it's right. And I'm like, oh, why did I listen to the busy mind? What everybody else is saying is right.
Yeah.
And that makes all the difference. Definitely.
It does. And let's awaken to the fact that we are creators. And this just isn't about just pure manifestation or the law of attraction. I'm going deeper than that. This is about your conscious and your subconscious merging. And then you go into conscious creation. We're creating all the time. We are master creators. And at a subconscious level, we're creating all the time. So what are the thoughts that are going through your mind? Because if they're negative, you're going to create negative. Don't say, see, I told you that was going to happen. No, what do you desire to happen in any business venture you enter into, when you're getting ready to meet with a client, whatever you're doing, can you visualize the end result of the wish fulfilled? And can you step into the energy of that and think from that and understand that that subconscious power of creation understands that language. When you go in the wish fulfilled into the end result, and that's what you persist in, you don't bounce back and forth, you don't have all this doubt, you persist in that, and then you release it. What happens is intuition rises to guide you to get there. Everything in creation will back you up. And so ever since I've started doing business that way, it's a heck of a lot easier, Sheila.
And it's, for me personally, in my life, I've had lots of businesses and raised 6 incredible children, and had gifts, lots of different things that happened in my life. Invested, became a real estate agent because I bought my own buildings starting at 23 with these gifts. And all that, the weirdest thing, I wasn't chasing money. Never, ever was I chasing money. My stores had a heart-based program to help at-risk youth. And that was just the vehicle I used to do that. And so everything showed up, and I'd have these mantras. It'd be like, money rolls up to my house, knocks on my door, and hops in my pocket. And and why do we have to do a 9 to 5? I don't know. Yet sometimes I would work 14, 16-hour days, but in my mind, I was playing. I was having fun with everything that I was doing. My children were brought into the business with me. They got to help me, design the store, and we'd play music and dance. And it was just part of life. It was another piece of how I was living. And when I had people tell me, no, you've got to chase money. You've got to do these things. You've got to take all these things and do all these things and chase it. That's the only time it ran away from me.
So when I hear you have to chase it, or there's that mindset of that, it takes me to, I'm actually creating a year-long program about money just for this very thing. It's kind of interesting you brought that up, because to me, people have the thought that there is a lack of money. And to the person, they might look at me now and go, well, Claudette, you're okay. You don't understand. Absolutely do. I grew up in poverty. My mom made Like the year she made $11,000 in the year, we were happy because we felt like we had money then, because we had gone up from $6,000. Like, I know what poverty is. We always had enough somehow. Like, there was one time that I remember that we were short on groceries, and my mom just had faith, and somebody left groceries on our porch. Like, I just remember that. That was it, because I'm the one that heard the knock and went and answered the door. So my thoughts on that when I, left home and went on my own is, I'm always going to have enough. But that was my belief. So then I just had enough. So see, be it unto you according to what you believe. So then I go, I'm always going to have enough plus more. And then I started to have enough plus more. And now my belief is large sums of money come to me consistently and easily through legitimate means. That is my belief now, because abundance is everywhere. So you have an abundance in poverty or an abundance in wealth. You have abundance in health or an abundance in sickness. Think about it. And based on what we believe, this whole world is showing us what we believe. It mirrors what is coming from within our subconscious into the created third dimensional earth realm. And that's what's happening. And so when we awaken to understand that, it's a good thing. At first, you might go, I'm not doing this to myself. I did that at first. And then when I realized I was doing it to myself, I thought, I can change it. If I'm responsible for this, now I can change it. So what do I believe? And I can go back in every business deal, the ones that worked, the ones that failed, and I can look at the beliefs I had and how they played out into reality. And I no longer focus on the money. I focus on serving and build. I'm working on a project right now to where we're redeveloping a town. And the whole, we're putting together all the real estate portfolio and what we're doing and what we're going to serve. But the things we're going to create are going to heal the soul of everyone that comes through and experiences this. So, when you have really pure intention, the universe backs you up and the money comes. When we have a fear of a lack of money, then what we fear comes to pass, right? Because fear is such a strong emotion, focused emotion, speaking to your subconscious. It's what we create.
Now, this is the interesting part. If you're listening in right now, and maybe you're in a career or you have a business that got shut down, and
Yes.
the shift that's happening, this is the most interesting thing I've found, is that there are times in our life where we are rerouted. Maybe you want to call it a soul reroute. And it's, oh, this isn't working, or there is something even better. In my book, I talk about I lost my home, my car, and my cat to a house fire back in the Ventura, California house fires. I had just bought this home, set it up beautiful. My daughter was going to move in. It was great. The first night I was going to spend the night there, and I had everything, how you set everything up perfect.
Yes.
I lost everything in that house was gone. And it was such an interesting thing. A few months later, I moved to Beverly Hills, and I was like, oh, well, the universe had something even better in mind. I would have never thought. And now I have another home somewhere else. And it's just really interesting how we're guided. And it was almost like learning how to surrender and listen and go to what you're guided to go with. And
that is so key.
yeah.
Surrender is the key, Sheila, because okay, so I have many friends, some of my investors were restaurateurs. So when COVID hit, and they thought it would only be 2, 4, 6 weeks, right?
Right.
I had a friend that was spending $100,000 a week just to keep his people paid, keep them afloat, trying to do the right thing. And yes, he had worked his tail off and was making really good money. But I'm going to tell you, if you're bleeding $100,000 a week, that only lasts for so long, right? And so the biggest thing that I speak about when that is happening it feels, it's a threat to your survival, feels very scary. But I would ask you to just step into the possibility that you, even in the midst of what looks like a sinking ship or crashing, in the midst of that, to pay attention to what thoughts are going through your mind. And if it's, I'm doomed, things are falling apart, I'm going to, you got to turn that around. That thought, start envisioning something working out. So I worked with a client, and his business was really starting to fail. Okay. And this is COVID. We did a lot of pivot coaching and things like that. And it was starting to fail. And it goes beyond mindset, goes to your soul and what you believe. And we got rid of his fears and the beliefs associated with his business crashing. And it freed up the mental space. And then I said, now I want you to, he goes, I'm calm. I'm crashing, but I'm now calm. I'm no longer fear. Because remember, we got rid of the fear and we got rid of the beliefs. And then the next step was, I said, okay, now envision what the perfect business would look like for you. And release how it happens. Don't worry about it. Just go to envisioning that and go to sleep at night with that vision. Just go to sleep in the energy of that vision, and everything, all your bills are paid and you're content and happy in your soul. You're doing something you enjoy. And I go, I know you think you're losing your business right now, and it looks like you are, but let's do this. And I said, let's just test it. And so he did it in about 3 weeks every night. And then he would wake up and envision it. And every time a bill would come, he'd lose a client because he was losing clients based on COVID. You know, it's like this domino effect. Yeah. And every time I said, I want you to shift to the wish fulfilled, the end vision. And even though all the evidence is stacking up and looking bad, and what happened was he got an idea on how to pivot. And now he's happier than ever, making more money than ever. He began to climb back up in the climate of COVID as things were crashing. And he said, I never thought I would bring this element of a product to my business. But what happened is he woke up one morning and it's almost like it downloaded into him. It was almost like a dream coming to him. And see, if you go to sleep with the wish fulfilled and you start envisioning just that end result, and don't play into, you can see what's happening. I'm not saying ignore it, but I want you to be in that wish fulfilled, and I want you to think from there. And he got that idea, he pivoted, he's fine, you know. And I was like, let's get to survival and then thriving after that. And he is beginning to thrive. But, you know, he thought 10 years of hard work and everything, his whole family, like everything he has, was getting ready to go down the drain. Yes. And so universal intelligence is always there waiting to guide you. And do you trust that? And when you can step outside, surrender simply means, let's step out of logic and reasoning for a second. You need it sometimes, I get it, to do task, to have a linear task of things to do for your business. But for that big idea, let's step into the knowing and let's let that drop in. So step out of your mind, take a deep breath, connect to your heart, and use your beautiful imagination to imagine what that business would look like if you had your desire. And let that, because that talks directly to your subconscious, and the subconscious creates in the fourth dimension and brings it into the third. You are a powerful being. And we can have anything in the world happen, but yet your wish fulfilled, if you persist in it, becomes a reality, because that's how powerful you are.
Yes. And, you know, it's so important. You talked about the survival mode and getting back on track. And this 12 months, people have had to go to a survival mode that they've never had to experience before, maybe in their entire life. Yeah. And so it is important to ask for help when you need it, and also share with those around you any type of resources that are available to get back on track. One thing I do share in every show, I share about 211. I don't know if you've heard of 211, Claudette.
I haven't. What is?
So 211 is a resource in every single state in the United States and every province in Canada. And it's basically, you can Google 211 New York, 211 California, Nevada, wherever you're at, and you will find a list of resources. That's for, food banks. You talked about back when you were a child and you didn't have food,
Yeah.
and somebody showed up with groceries. That it's maybe somebody's going through something. They have mental health help. They have somebody's maybe in an abusive home and they need to get out. They have those resources. They have resources for people going through addictions, abuse, whatever it is, to get back to that solid ground so
Yeah.
that out of survival, as you're working on moving toward the vision, you got to get a little bit of solid ground. You got to get the food on the table for the family and have that little girl open the door and have something there. You've got to have that.
Sheila, you're so right, because I would say this. When my mom, when we were low on food, like we weren't quite, she's been low on food a couple of times. And one time I was a child, and there's a story with that, and it was a miracle. Like, my dad had gone and only left a certain amount of money. She was out of it. I was a baby. She had nothing. And the neighbors were moving, and they were going to throw 2 grocery bags of food away, and just felt like they should knock on our door because they saw her light on. Like, it was like 11 o'clock at night. And it was everything my mom needed, I would say this. Everything that Sheila mentioned, she mentioned if you're hungry, if you're in an abusive situation. I've experienced an abusive situation. I understand. She mentioned, all these different situations. The first thing that you could do for yourself is to use your beautiful imagination to visualize a solution. So if you're hungry, visualize you are not hungry. And you're thanking someone for the food, or the food just show, like, visualize that and start to test this. I challenge people, test it. You don't have to believe me. Please, don't blindly believe anyone, right? But test it. And it might not, there might be some doubt at first that could kind of mess it up for a minute, but test it for about 6 months. Start testing it. Have you ever just had a thought that you desired something and it ends up showing up, or you wanted someone to call you and they call you and you're like, I was just thinking about you? It is the same power. And so we do it all the time, and we'll notice it when it happens. I'm talking about doing it consciously, not just a thought that drops in. I'm talking, this is how, if you're in an abusive situation, I got out of my abusive situation when I began to imagine me out of it. I literally imagined me out of it, safe, because it was life-threatening, safe, and rising into figuring out who I was as a person. At that time, I didn't realize what I was doing. Now that I can look back, I'm like, of course I got out and it played out like I imagined, because I understand this concept now. So think on things that are lovely, good, powerful, and dare to think on things that are beyond what you've ever imagined. And people will tell you, oh, it's just your imagination. Do not discount your imagination. Everything in this earth.
Okay, she froze for a second there. And so we'll continue, and I think she'll probably refresh. But one of the things that is so true with this, and I know manifesting really works for me. Well, okay, you're back. And I was continuing a little bit. So manifesting really works. And here's the tough part, is going on faith when you are guided to take that action step. Because there is, you got to go pick up the ticket, the lottery ticket. You got to go talk to somebody. You got to call a number. You got to take a step that comes to you, or something shows up. You got to open the door, when somebody rings the doorbell. And so taking that action step in faith, knowing that, okay, it came to me to make 12 phone calls, and that's where you're going to find your next business, or whatever it is that you need. So being able to take those steps in faith when maybe everybody around you is telling you that's ridiculous. Just because you had a good thought, that's not going to work. You need to go do this. So taking the steps in faith when maybe it goes against what you think might work from a knowing place is really going to make a difference. Are you back, Claudette? Okay, Claudette is frozen again. So let's see if we can, we're going to do a reboot real quick. And that, let's see if we can. And we're back. Okay. And Claudette is coming back in a moment, I believe. So that is something that is so powerful and works with every situation. And sometimes it's hard to believe, but it is a fun game to play. And you'll be surprised what shows up when you put the intention out there, when you visualize what you wish to happen, what next right thing you want to happen in your life. And Dr. Wayne Dyer often said, act as if. And so that's living into what you wish to happen. That means if you like to have a corporate job, get dressed up, go volunteer, sharing your talents, doing that particular job with an organization you totally believe in. And you're already doing that job. And guess what will happen? You will get an offer because people will see you, because you didn't wait. You just acted as if you were already doing it, and you already started doing it. You don't have to wait for permission. You don't have to have a degree. How many people do you know of in history, or that are doing quite well, maybe famous, well-known people right now in any industry that you can think of, that didn't really get a degree? Or maybe they got a degree in something totally different, and they just went and did what they were called to do, and their business became very successful. So that's something that society says, well, you have to have this, $50,000 or plus $100,000, $200,000 degree. And a lot of times you don't. So a lot of times all you have to do is take the next right action and believe it. And then it starts to manifest and show up. So I'm not sure if Claudette is coming back or not. So let's see. I'm just messaging her now. Here she is. Look at that. Here you are. Are you on your phone?
No, I'm in an office. Like I'm in a conference room in an office, and I don't know. I've seen the internet going out a couple of times. It's supposed to be good, so I have no idea. I have no idea. So I apologize. Did you tell everyone how important manifestation was?
Yes, we were talking about taking that action step when you believe something and you have this, okay, I feel guided. I felt really guided to move and to do certain things for my business and my family. And people were like, well, that sounds kind of crazy. Why are you going to do that? It was so in line. I felt guided to write my book. It made no sense at the time. I had to put it on hold when my youngest son passed away. He had a heart condition. It showed up when it was released. It was released in perfect time for the current situation and the universal pause, that people really needed to hear it and were receptive to it. So, and my goal, listen to this, my goal was I wanted to be able to provide lots of resources, and this radio show showed up 7 days a week, and able to share and have people show up on this. So your message, Claudette, and this is what I believe every single time I interview someone, your exact message, somebody's turning on the radio or turning on the on-demand TV, and they are listening to your message, and that's exactly what they needed to hear and apply to get back on track this year. That's what I
Yes.
totally believe.
I do. I mean, I just invite you to awaken to the possibility, to understand that there is a power in you that is far more powerful than any power in the world. It's because of who you are. You know, we think we're not enough. We think all these thoughts about ourselves. We beat ourselves up. But that is just part of the illusion. That is just part of the false us. Like, we think we're not enough, but that's not your true self. Your true self has always been enough. We think there's something wrong with us. We fail, and then we go, you know, so many new business owners will fail and they'll give up. If you knew how many times I failed and I'm still persisting, because when I fail, it's no longer associated with my identity. I just go, okay, that's obviously a way not to do it. And then I turn inward again. I go to the wish fulfilled. I follow the guidance to get there. It becomes very easy if you practice it. In the beginning, it's hard because your brain wants to get in the way. But if imagining is hard for you, pretend you're a 5-year-old. And then put together that, and then daydream into your future, and start to see how things will be created for you. And then you'll start to trust, yeah, Claudette was right. Sheila was right. There is a power in me. And to me, I say it's your birthright. It's your, some people call it the God power. It's your beautiful subconscious working for you. Start paying attention to your beliefs around people. Like if someone's always mean to you, right? Or if you have a customer that you just, oh my God, I dread talking to, right? Visualize the conversation going really, really well, and ending well, and everything working out, and do it until it takes on a form, it feels real. You have to persist in it until it feels real. And then at that point, release it. Anytime you think of it, then think of the end result, the wish fulfilled, and see if things don't start to change, including how people react to you, including customers that sign up. Instead of going, I'm not getting business, say, I receive business every day for all of my goods and services that serve the world. And I choose to serve the world for their highest good. And I'm rewarded for that. Start thinking of things that you could say, that just say it until it becomes just so real to you that there is the universe has no choice but to give it to you. That's the power in you.
And I have a really strong belief that people show up in our life and they all are a gift. Situations, they all are a gift, whether it's teaching us something or whatever. I had a situation years ago where I was actually doing a yoga teacher training, and I was invited to teach up north at a yoga studio. And I love yoga. It's the thing. And so I thought, this is great. I'll be home. I'll teach yoga. Wonderful. And I bought a car, a new car, a Mercedes.
Okay.
Well, a fellow yoga instructor was so angry with me for buying a certain type of car. And I was like, I don't understand. I didn't see the difference. I was like, well, back then it was the one that had the blow up bag things, so it's safer. That's the reason I bought it, and for my business, because I take clients everywhere. So actually, it was the car I needed. And she was so angry, she forced me out. I ended up joining the Platinum program with Tony, which is where I met you in one of those groups. And it was so funny because I was so blessed. and had such an incredible experience, brought my children with me. We traveled the world back in the day when the world was open. And I
Yes.
returned to town, took a yoga class, and the next morning my daughter came into my room. It was like 5 or 6 in the morning. I never wake up that early, really. And and she was like, Mom, wasn't it weird? I haven't heard from this lady. And I said, oh my gosh, and I told her, and this heart thing hit me. I said, that yoga lady, we called her Yoga Bee. Well, you can fill in the blanks, because I thought she was so mean. And I said, wait, she blessed us. We would have never left. I had to be pushed out of that studio to do something even more important for my family and for all the people I got to enjoy life with. And I helped out and all these fun things, and they helped me. It was a gift. Do you know, this is going to really freak you all out? And I know you'll get it. That moment, I'm with my daughter as my witness. My cell phone rings. And guess who it is? The yoga lady.
Yeah.
I haven't heard her. Yeah. And I guess she heard I was in town, but I'm telling you, and she's like, I need help with a relationship. And I saw all your posts and I see what you're doing. Could you help me? And it was like this. And I was like, of course. And we were friends, and we've been friends ever since. And it was this healing. It was the heart of, sometimes somebody's heart is hardened, or they're pushing you out, or the door is closed, but it really is for a purpose beyond our understanding. And it's when you go back to pure love. And I sent love, and she felt it. I really think that. And it was the most beautiful thing about that. So keep that in mind, even when it's someone that is really, you think, oh, they're such a, they're being so mean. They're probably protecting you, loving you, or pushing you in some way to guide you to what you're really supposed to be doing.
Yeah, everything that we experience is a mirror of something that we believe. And there's a teacher, her name was Florence Scovel Shinn, and she was an early 1900s teacher, and she was a metaphysical teacher. And she said, everyone is a golden link in the chain of your good. Mm. And so also understand this, that they're going through, the same problems that you have, or the same insecurities, fears, and thoughts, and whatever. Everyone goes through it. It is part of the divine plan. And there's a divine plan at work within all of us. And that divine plan will come, it will finish in you. There's nothing wrong with you. You're learning, you're growing, and you might have some beliefs that are non-supportive. And this is why the truth is so important. So you can ask, what do I believe about this? And then when that rises in you, when you get your brain out of the way, it will rise. And that could be when you're in the bathroom, taking a shower, riding your bike. There is a method to do it consciously. But for right now, I'm giving you some simple tips. Okay. So just go, what do I believe? And then trust the answer to come to you. Don't worry about it. Don't force it. Don't try to think about it. And then it will come. It'll just be a knowing. And then once you get that, say, well, what's the truth about it? Because we believe, if the whole world is a mirror of us, then what we believe, everyone has agreed to complete our creations. We've all agreed to complete each other's creations. I even reacted a certain way the other day to someone, and I usually don't react that way. And it was almost like I wasn't bad, but I was just a little more, forceful, and it's not how I normally talk to someone. And it was very interesting because it was almost like I was observing the way, and I backed off because I was like, this isn't really me, but I felt compelled. And I know I was compelled to complete his creation of what he believes about himself, but I had to resist it. Right. And then I kind of went back to who I am. I was like, that's very interesting. That's what was showing up in front of me. Mm-hmm. And so understand and look upon everyone with mercy. because everyone has beliefs that do not support them, and they're in their own form of torment or lack or whatever it is. And while you're on your journey, right, you can have some mercy and grace for them and understand that what they say to you or do to you has nothing to do with your true identity. But you can ask for the truth about it and how you can rise above it. And, the first way to do it is your beautiful imagination and the wish fulfilled. And so I would encourage everyone, if you're going through a hard time, if you're feeling like you're at the end of your rope, you know what? You're a master creator. You're doing it unconsciously right now. Let's start stepping into conscious creation. Let's start stepping into everything, all of our power. So,
Yes. Yes, and we are coming to the end of our time, our interview time. I do want to have you share with people, how can they maybe join your programs or your courses or learn more about what you're doing?
Oh, perfect. Okay, so I offer a few options, and you can go to ClaudetteAnderson.com and just submit an application, and then my team will reach out, and I could even book a call with you. It's that type of thing. So I have an 8-week program that shares with you the basics, foundations of connecting to the eternal truth within, because that really is where the truth sets us free from the beliefs that don't support us. And when your belief is changed, your thoughts, your emotions, your patterns, everything changes immediately because your belief is changed. See, the belief is the driver of your life. It speaks directly to your subconscious. So until we address the belief, we could do mindset all day long, and it's frustrating and hard. But let's address the belief, and now everything lines up. So I have an 8-week course, and then I have an advanced course called the Truth Inner Circle, and that's a 12-week course. And then I have memberships that are ongoing from there. I am getting ready to launch, and so if you're interested in this, a monthly membership that is extremely affordable, and it's about money. And we're going to take a whole year to dive into money, the creation of money, the energy behind money, removing lack of money. I just think this is huge and important for everyone in this time. And I'm going to share the teachings I share about money, plus several teachings from metaphysical authors throughout history on money, because money used properly transmutes into love. And so we have all these beliefs around money. Money is an amplifying energy. So it will amplify for, if someone's kind-hearted, their kindness is increased with money. If someone is not kind-hearted, then that is increased with money. It's an amplifier. So understanding that too, and removing the charge around it, and understanding how you can draw it into your life. I learned this because I grew up total poverty mindset, the beginning, my whole childhood into my adulthood until I learned this. And it was when everything began to change. But then, like, I had the bankruptcy in 2004, and I had to recover from that. I've had a couple projects that crashed. I've lost some money, a good amount of money. But you know what? I understand that I am the creator now, because that is my birthright. And so I can create whatever I desire when I focus on that and when I get truth about what I believe. So ClaudetteAnderson.com, just submit application, and then we will be in touch with you. And you can say that you heard about me on Sheila's program. So yes.
All right. All right. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show. And for those tuning in, we have another guest in a few moments, so stay tuned. All right. Thank you again, Claudette.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye.